all so much. I am currently on a 7-week-long tour of the U.S. I'm about over a month in, and right before that, I went on a 6-week-long run of Europe. So I've been on tour essentially since August. So I feel kind of crazy. I've been out here a little too long. But it's been a great time. So much has happened over the past few weeks, I don't even know where to start. But a few weeks ago, I played a festival in the United Kingdom. It's called End of the Road Fest. And to be completely honest, I didn't fully do my research on what this festival was. All I had was like the little itinerary my booking agents gave me, and it said, you're playing End of the Road Fest on this day. You play the garden stage at noon. And I foolishly thought the garden stage at noon would be like some little side stage where you would play to like 100 hungover people or people on acid or something. But I showed up and the audience was over 4,000 people. And you get 10 minutes for what is called a line check. And for those of you who don't know, a line check means you get to plug your guitars in and see if they make sound. And if they make sound, you're good to go. So I plugged my guitars in on this stage in front of all these people. I walk off and the guy looks at me and he says, hey, are you good to go in 5 minutes? And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. So he walks off and I look at my wife, Lahanna, and I say, I need a beer and fast. So I find a beer, I drink it really quick, and I played one of the coolest performances of my life. It was really insane because this was over 4,000 people, but the audience was dead silent. I don't know if it's like English people or something, maybe they're just really polite, but what was weird is I remember looking out at the audience and just seeing this. It was like something out of The Wicker Man. It was terrifying. But after I played, this older gentleman came up to me at the merch table and he said, hey, I wanted to let you know I'm good friends with Mike Rutherford of the band Genesis, and I'm going to tell him to check out your music. I loved your performance. I was like, man, that's incredible. Thank you. The only thing I'm worried about is that song Smoked I just played. It slightly rips off the Genesis song Entangled. And he looked me dead in the eyes and said, I know. So if that song disappears from the internet soon, I wanted y'all to at least know why. This next song I'm going to play, y'all, it's a new song of mine called Long Pond Lily. This is one of the most challenging songs I've ever written in terms of playing it live. It's pretty difficult. The first time I ever played it was a complete disaster. It's a total train wreck. I struggled with stage fright on and off over the years, and when I played it the first time, my hands were shaking so bad. It sounded awful. After I played it, everyone in the audience looked confused and disappointed. But the thing is, I don't learn my lesson. I kept playing it over and over until I got it to a point where I felt comfortable playing it. Now I would like to play it for y'all. The story behind this song is when I wrote it, I wanted to write a piece of music that sounded like if the guitarist John Fahey played on a Led Zeppelin album. But I'm going to give it a shot. This is called Long Pond Lily. It might get a little bit loud for a second, but I hope y'all enjoy it. Thank you all. Thank y'all so much. Man, that song still scares me. Every time I'm playing it, I'm up here thinking to myself, Hayden, this isn't like you. It's too fast. It gets my heart racing, kind of scares me. It kind of brings back the stage fright every time I play it. But that's what I like about it. It's like getting on a bull. You get thrown off and you break your neck. You recover and you try again. At least that's how I think it works. Like I was telling y'all, I've been on tour since August, and the past 2 months have been some of the strangest I've ever lived. It's been a lot. I've been on tour relentlessly, and my wife, Lahana, she's my tour manager. She travels with me everywhere. She's the best tour manager on earth. I love working with her. Thank you. When we were in Europe on the tour, like week 2 of a 6-week-long tour, we were in Scotland. We were rushing to get ready for a show. I was playing a church in Edinburgh that night, and I was in the shower washing my hair, running late. My wife came in the bathroom and she said, "Hey, I'm not trying to freak you out or anything, but I think I'm pregnant." You don't expect to find that out while on tour. It's a lot to process all at once. But she's not on this tour right now just because her morning sickness has been pretty bad. So she's back at home kind of resting while I'm doing these shows. It's weird to be out here without her. I'm very new to touring. I didn't start touring until 2023. And Lahana was right there with me, the very first tour I went on, opening for Jenny Lewis. And this tour has been kind of strange in a lot of ways because this tour feels like I'm in between 2 different lives. And the reason why is I finished a trilogy of records this year with a record called I'll Be Waiting As You Drive Away. Thank you all. But those records kind of tell the story of the past 10 years of my life, and I'm playing these songs telling that story. But in a weird way, I feel like I'm waiting to get home to start this whole other new life. And there can be a weird feeling being in the in-between 2 different worlds kind of thing. But it's made me appreciate playing these songs even more so, because these songs meant a lot to me when I wrote them. And after I do this tour, I'm going to be taking a pretty long break, obviously because I'm having a kid, but also I need to write a new album and do a bunch of other things. So when I play them, I'm trying to really hone in on the feeling I felt when I wrote all of these songs. They all took place during very transitional periods in my life, and now I'm in another transitional period. This is like a very personal story, but I haven't told anyone this at a show. But the other day, after a show, we were driving to Los Angeles for the next show, but my wife was going to have to fly back home kind of unexpectedly because she wasn't feeling well from being pregnant. But on the drive, she said to me, she was like, "I just realized this is the last drive." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "We've been touring together since 2023, and once I go home, after this, it'll be a completely different thing. We'll never go back to just you and I touring." And it was beautiful, but incredibly heavy. It's just sometimes huge changes in life happen without you even knowing. It sneaks up on you and surprises you. But I realized all of these songs I'm playing are about that feeling. Change happens very fast. You never expect it. And all these songs are about me coping with the change, I guess. This next song, it's an older song of mine called Elsewhere. But the way I like to play it live is I like to combine it with my favorite film theme of all time. The theme to the movie Brokeback Mountain is one of my favorite pieces of music ever written. And the reason why I like it so much is the pauses in it are excruciating. And I know what y'all are thinking. Haven't they already been excruciating during this show? But they can be a lot worse. But when I play the theme to Brokeback Mountain, what I ask y'all is in the silence just to soak it in. I realize really the only time we get to experience a moment of silence together in a large group is when something bad has happened. And I don't like that. Sometimes I think we should feel silence together when something good has happened, like all of us getting together tonight to hear some music and be together. And when I take a pause, it's my way of trying to get to know y'all. And I hope y'all get to know me too. I'm going to make sure I'm in tune, and then I will play the theme to Brokeback Mountain and Elsewhere. I really can't thank y'all enough for coming out tonight. It means the world to me. And so sorry, can I get some reverb on that? There we go. Thank you. not sure how this will work. Usually, at the middle point of my show, I ask the audience if they have any questions. And how this works is essentially you just raise your hand and ask me a question, and I'll answer it. I guess, is there a way we can bring up the house lights so I can see people? Because otherwise I won't be able to see people's hands. Almost there. It's the haze. Okay, there we go. Wow, there's a lot of people in here. I could not see all of you with that smoke, but bring the lights down. I'm just kidding. So does anyone have any questions? If I can't see you, you can just yell out a question.
Over here, Hayden.
Oh, yes.
How does pending fatherhood affect how you will impact songwriting?
So how does impending fatherhood impact my songwriting? Honestly, at this point, I'm not exactly sure. I write songs in a weird way. I don't write many songs. Essentially, I take 2 years in between records, and what I do is I write a record, and then I don't write another song again for 2 years. I'm not a prolific writer. I schedule like 1 month every 2 years to write. And what's strange is like there's a possibility I will write some songs before the baby is here, because the due date's like in May. So I might write some songs before that. Thank you. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure it's going to have a pretty big impact. I feel like it already has had a very big impact already. So I don't know yet. I'm not sure. Maybe it will get sweeter. I don't know. But I feel like my music is already pretty soft, you know. But it's hard to answer that. The other day someone asked me, are you scared to be a father? And I was like, no. Very scared. Does anyone else have any questions? You up there? So the reason silence means so much to me and influences my music is, I mean, going way back where I'm from, the Texas Panhandle, Amarillo, it's very flat and empty there. It just goes on forever, the flatness, and there's a stillness and a silence to it. And those pauses in my music are directly inspired by that landscape. But in kind of a ever noisy world we live in, silence is very hard to come by, and we're constantly assaulted by noise. And there's a record label called ECM, back in the day, great label, but their tagline was the second best sound next to silence. And I love that idea. I'm obsessed with silence, and there's a lot of music that I like that incorporates silence. But I mean, this evening my friend and manager Forrest, we went out to dinner, and there was like so many people on their phones in this restaurant, and like audio blasting off of phones. And I told him, I said, I feel like we're going to reach a point of like mass psychosis from phone speakers, like the way they sound is like super unpleasant. I'm getting like old man yells at cloud, but this is like a cloud that's going to kill all of us. But silence has become more and more valuable to me, and even in my music and performance, I think it's important to take a pause, just take a second. And it also came from being a nervous person when I played. I sometimes needed the pause and the silence to re-ground myself and recalibrate. It's kind of, the silence is like planting your feet on the ground. And I know when they say it's like, if you're having a panic attack, hold on to something solid like a table or something, and it's like grounding. And the silence works that way to me if it's just a grounding thing. But I don't know, silence means a lot to me, I guess. I hope that made sense. You right there?
Just did the Chat Pile record, which was phenomenal. Would love to hear what other artists you would be interested in working with, and outside of the realm of music.
Okay, what other artists I would like to work with? I mean, I try not to overthink these things, so I'm going to answer immediately who comes to mind. The people I'd like to work with the most is there's this weird electronic ambient artist, James Ferraro. Would like to work with him. The Swedish rapper Blade or Bladey. I want to work with him a lot. I'd want to, but you can't get a hold of him. And then finally, either Robert Fripp of King Crimson or Steve Hackett or Anthony Phillips of Genesis. Those are the people I'd want to work with the most, but they're all incredibly hard to get a hold of. I've tried. You right there?
I know you just played the Brokeback Mountain theme, and then I also saw the documentary Kid Candidate, where Domo was also a big part of your or influence on your art. Are there any other movies that were really impactful or influential to your art?
It's funny, someone asked me this the other day. They asked, what is your favorite movie of all time? And that's a tough question to answer, but for me it's actually not hard at all. My favorite movie of all time is American Graffiti by George Lucas. It's my favorite movie of all time. That movie has inspired me a lot. I think American Graffiti is one of the saddest movies ever made. It's like a deeply painful movie that people confuse as like some 1950s throwback, but it's not. It's like a really deeply human movie. That one, and then when I was a kid, the book and the movie, The Outsiders, stuck with me a lot. That was more of a fashion book than anything. It taught me style, and you can't even see it. It's just the words, but the style in the book taught me a lot. But I can say The Outsiders and American Graffiti are the two movies that like shaped so much in me. But later on, obviously, I think there's an unofficial trilogy. I love doing this. I like thinking up 3 movies that aren't connected, but coming up with imaginary trilogies. And there's a fake trilogy I've made of Paris, Texas, the movie True Stories. And then the third entry in the trilogy is a movie called Tender Mercies with Robert Duvall. Really incredible movie, but there's something like it's the Texas trilogy is what I call it. But those 3 movies have shaped me so much, and it's really impacted how I present my music and the story behind it. Story is like really important to me. I think contextualizing your art and what you do is really important. I'm ranting a bit, but the other day I was talking to a friend who's a musician. We were talking about music school versus art school, and how sometimes musicians who come from an academic world, we were talking about like technical academic music and how sometimes it can be really boring. No offense. But my thinking is like music school and art school are polar opposites, because music school teaches you how to play music. It teaches you the notes and the theory. Or in art school, there's less of an emphasis on learning how to do the actual art and more of the emphasis on contextualizing your art. And I think that's a big thing in music for me, is how do you contextualize the story of what you do. And even with these films, I embrace that stuff because my music doesn't have lyrics, so I have to contextualize it further. I'm so sorry for the rant. This isn't a TED Talk. I apologize. Did I miss anybody? Yes, you right there. What kind of equipment am I using? Oh, it's super simple. This is a Epiphone Firebird. Epiphone's the cheap version of a Gibson, but it's a magical guitar. This is a Yamaha acoustic that they custom made for me. I got it right before this tour, but it's based on a 1930s Bacon and Day acoustic John Fahey played. And then that right there is the cheapest 12-string Yamaha makes. I bought it on tour because I wanted to buy a guitar that I didn't care what happened to it, if something happened to it. But now it's become my favorite guitar I've ever owned. And now I'm scared of what might happen to it. The other day I was on stage setting up, and it fell off the stand in front of a crowded room and made the most horrendous crash, and everyone gasped. And it was really embarrassing, but I was like, no, it's a cheap guitar, it's fine. But everyone like gasping at it really freaked me out, I guess. I do have 1 or 2 more questions, if I missed anybody. And sorry, it's a little hard to see in here. Yes, you right there.
Well, we're talking about media influence. I don't know if you've read Tales from the Doom Squad by Jennifer Egan.
No.
But there's a chapter about one of the main character's siblings who categorizes every piece of silence in music and tries to find the longest pause. And I hope that you're number 1.
Oh, good. I'm trying. I'm trying to go for the Guinness World Record on that. Okay, I can do 1 more question. You right there.
So you speak a lot about the way that like an Amarillo affects your music and the silence that you incorporate. I know you spoke about moving somewhere else. Do you think or anticipate that you'll draw similar inspiration from the place you find yourself in now, or from other
Yeah, so the influence of Amarillo, for context, I did move away from Amarillo last summer. I moved to Oklahoma City, and that already has directly impacted my sound because I did that collaborative record with the band Chat Pile, who are an Oklahoma City band, and already I can hear in that record the Oklahoma sound. It sounds more humid. You know, Amarillo's dry. It's like a desert, where Oklahoma City can get a little bit more sticky and humid. And I can already hear that in the music, the humidity. it just feels different. But yeah, the landscape deeply impacts the music, and I think Oklahoma will change it. It will just mildly warp it in a certain way. Oklahoma's weird. It's a very strange place. But I like Oklahoma a lot. They're the weird cousins of Texas. They're the more chill, like, people. They're not as arrogant about where they're from. I think it's because they know they're from Oklahoma. They're like, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, their state motto is Oklahoma, it's okay. Okay, now I have a question for all of you. For the next song, would y'all like to hear a pretty song or an ugly song? Ugly. You know what's funny is pretty has never won. What does that say about our world? I think it's because I play a lot of pretty tunes. I don't blame y'all. It's nice to kind of have a little change of pace. This next song, it's a song of mine called Rained Like Hell. And kind of what I was talking about earlier, when I wrote this song, it was inspired by the landscape of Amarillo and where I'm from, the flat, dry, windy, kind of brutal landscape. Amarillo would be kind of classified as an ugly place, because it is. But the thing I love about Amarillo is, again, that flatness and the silence and kind of the brutal feel of it. An old man years ago told me, he said, in Amarillo on a clear day, if you stand on the edge of town, you can see the back of your own head. There was another one of in Amarillo, if your dog runs away, you can watch him run away for 3 days. But apologies, I have to open tune this guitar in front of y'all because all of my songs are in a different open tuning. And as someone who's an anxious person, performing solo instrumental guitar music in open tunings was kind of the worst thing I ever could have done. But it's all I know at this point. You know, the only thing I can compare the feeling of open tuning a guitar in front of a silent audience to is that feeling of when you say goodbye to a friend and you'll both walk away in the same direction. But this song, it's called Rained Like Hell. I hope y'all enjoy it. I'm going to try to take y'all to Amarillo, Texas, and for that I would like to sincerely apologize. Thank y'all. Thank you all so much. So looking at the time, looks like I have enough time to play y'all 2 more songs. It's not like I'm trying to rush out of here. My songs, they just tend to be longer than most. This next song, it's about 2.5 hours long. But if I get started on it now, I can get us out of here before midnight. I'm just kidding, I don't have anything that long. But I'm going to end with kind of my 2 saddest songs, or at least most melancholy, maybe not full on sad. This next song is actually pretty sad. It's a song of mine, it's called I'll Be Waving, or sorry, no, I'm actually ending on that one. Oops, sorry, spoiler. No, this song is called The Happiest Times I Ever Ignored. And the story behind this song is it comes from a guy named Doug Kinney. He was the co-founder of National Lampoon magazine. He also wrote the movie Animal House, which was actually his first attempt at ever writing a movie. In the year it came out, it was the highest grossing comedy film of all time up until that point, which is pretty impressive. A few years after Animal House came out, Doug Kinney passed away. He died by suicide. He was in his early 30s. But a few weeks before he passed, he wrote a letter to a friend reflecting on the past few weeks of his life. And he said, "These last few days have been some of the happiest times I've ever ignored." And that stuck with me for a very long time. It's why I titled the album that, and I wrote the song kind of as a tribute to Doug, but also as a reminder of myself. I tend to be a very anxious person, if that's not obvious. And because of that, I've missed out on a lot of great moments in my life that I've been physically present for, but maybe not mentally present for. And the song's a reminder to be present for those moments kind of like right now with all of you, because this is a special thing to me, getting to play these songs and just feeling them with y'all. It truly means a lot. But I'm going to play this for y'all, this open tuning the songs in. It's actually, I think, the most beautiful open tuning I've ever heard. I got it from a website that had all of the open tunings of Joni Mitchell. It was during a period of time where I couldn't write any songs, and I found this tuning, which I have to show it to y'all. I think it's the most beautiful open tuning I've ever heard. That's from Joni Mitchell. Before I play that, I just want to say a massive thanks to Jeff, who opened up the show tonight. Please give him a round of applause. That was fantastic. And also, after the show, I sell my own merch. So if you want to buy a record from me, come see me at the back. I'll swipe your card. I'll sign the record. I'll do all of that. I'm the merch guy. But yeah, this song is called The Happiest Times I Ever Ignored. Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate y'all. y'all. Now has come for the end of the show. I would like to play y'all the song I like to end all of my shows with. It's a song of mine called I'll Be Waving As You Drive Away. It's the title track to my new record. That song title comes from a 1978 episode of the TV show Little House on the Prairie. Do y'all remember that one? I was homeschooled, so I watched a lot of that show. I don't know if y'all know this, but in the state of Texas, if you're homeschooled, you're legally required to watch that show. But I have to say, this is pretty incredible how many people came out. Chicago is genuinely one of my favorite cities to play. I think it's the best music city in America, in my opinion. Y'all have the best music that came out of this place, so it's always cool to get to play here. The other day I was up in Canada. I was playing like this little music festival, and I was at the hotel that the festival put me in, and I got in the elevator, and like someone came around the corner and like grabbed the door right as it was closing, and in walked like Jeff Parker of Tortoise, and I was kind of frozen. It was just us in the elevator, and I was like, "Oh, hey Jeff, I'm a huge fan of your music," and he was super nice, but you just never expect to be in an elevator and like Jeff Parker comes in, like, "Oh, hey." But this is super nice, and I appreciate how quiet y'all are. My music works best in the silence, and it means a lot that people come out and listen. It's always shocking to me when more than 5 people come to listen to instrumental guitar music, and I think it's a really cool thing. I don't know what else to say. I'm blown away that the show sold out, and I'm just really happy to be here. I appreciate y'all so much. This song uses a really strange tuning I came up with. I don't think you're supposed to tune a guitar to this. It probably will screw up the neck. But it's a weird tuning I came up with where the low strings are really high and the high strings are really low. I don't really know how it works, but I kind of have to have this perfectly in tune for this song to work. So let me just make sure I have this in tune and I'll play it for y'all. So sorry, this is the last moment of awkward silence.
What's the tuning?
Well, I do everything wrong. I don't understand how any of this stuff works. And unfortunately, I write down what all my tunings are, the notes with the capo on, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to write down what the notes are with the capo off. And I had this thing where people would message me on Instagram asking for my open tunings, and I would tell them, oh, it's G sharp, C sharp, F with capo on fourth. And they would write me back 30 minutes later saying, I tried that tuning, but I snapped every string. And I'll be like, no, you're supposed to tune with the capo on, which is not how you do it. But this tuning, I can only tell you what the notes are with the capo on, but it's G sharp, C sharp, F, G sharp, C sharp, D sharp. I don't know what that is, though. I can't tell you, like, oh, it's open G or whatever. I don't know much about music. Also, what's unfortunate with the song is you can tune perfectly with the tuner to this open tuning, and it's out of tune. You have to tune it like this one sharp, this one flat, this one sharp. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. I think I got it. This is I'll Be Waving As You Drive Away. Once again, my name is Hayden Pedigo. I'm from Amarillo, Texas. Thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate y'all.
night. I'll see you all.